Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a form of literature that's way older than the written word. And believe it or not, it's still all around us.
All right, let's jump right in, and we're going to start by kind of challenging a big assumption most of us have.
So let me ask you something. When you hear the word literature, what pops into your head? I'm willing to bet you're picturing a book, right? You know, ink on a page, something you can physically hold. It's this static object, and reading it is usually a solitary experience.
But what if I told you that for most of human history, that's not what literature was at all? It was something entirely different. Something totally fluid, deeply communal, and, well, alive. Just kind of floating in the air between people. It wasn't fixed on a page. It was a living, breathing thing that could change with every single telling.
So what is this stuff, this oral literature? Let's nail down what we're actually talking about here.
Okay, so the formal definition is that oral literature covers really everything from stories and legends to history, anything that gets passed down through the generations just by being spoken. The absolute key here is oral transmission. Because it's not written down, there's no single fixed, correct version of the story.
You've probably heard it called folk literature before, but there's this Ugandan scholar, P.O. Ziramu, who came up with a much better word for it, orature. It's a great term because it gets rid of that little contradiction, oral literature.
And Ziramu makes a really crucial point with this quote. He's saying that orature isn't just about the words. It actually requires a living social community to even exist. It's not some text you can go read alone in a library. It is an event. It's something that happens with people.
And that brings us to the heart of it, really. This isn't about passively reading something. It's about actively participating in it.
See, unlike a book where all the meaning is in the words on the page, here, the meaning is in the telling. The storyteller is using their whole body, gestures, facial expressions, maybe they're singing or even dancing, and the audience, they're reacting, laughing, calling out. They're actually shaping the performance as it happens.
So you can really break this whole thing down into three essential parts. First, you've got the narrative, the story, the proverb, whatever it is. Then you have the performer, the one who's breathing life into it. And finally, you have the audience, and they are just as important because their reactions can literally change the story in real time and keep that tradition alive.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds like something from ancient history, but orature is absolutely thriving right now in our super digital age.
Just think about it for a second. The jokes you tell your friends, those creepy urban legends that get shared around, the powerful performance of a slam poet, that is all oral literature. Even the bedtime stories we make up for our kids, yep, that's part of this ancient, powerful tradition.
And what's just incredible is how resilient these traditions are. There's actually a term for it, persistent orality. It's this ability of spoken stories and traditions to adapt and evolve across time, through new technologies and into new cultures. It totally blows up the idea of a fixed literary canon, right? It shows that the most powerful stories live and breathe way beyond the printed page.
For a perfect example, look at Bhojpuri folk songs. They started out being performed at weddings in India. Then they got spread around through recordings and radio. As the Indian diaspora moved to places like Mauritius, these songs went with them, and they blended with local music to create totally new genres like chutney music. And today, they are remixed and shared all over the world on YouTube. I mean, that journey is persistent orality in a nutshell.
But we can actually push this idea even further. Let's see how this whole concept can expand beyond just the spoken word.
Now, this might sound like a bit of a trick question, but it really gets to the core of what this kind of literature is all about. Think about deaf culture. It has this incredibly rich and complex tradition of stories, poetry, and jokes that are passed down from one person to another, generation after generation, completely without sound or written text.
And this is such a powerful example because it proves the fundamental idea here isn't about the mouth. It's about the live, person-to-person transmission of culture. It doesn't matter if the words are spoken with the voice or signed with the hands.
So why is this so important? Why should we bother broadening our whole definition of what literature is?
Well, what we've seen is that literature is so much more than just books. It's a dynamic, communal act. It's not just something we read, it's something we do, together. It's this fundamental thread that's woven right into the fabric of every single human culture on the planet.
When you start recognizing these unwritten stories, these living performances, it just deepens your appreciation for all the amazing, diverse ways that we humans share meaning, build communities, and connect with each other across generations.
So next time you hear a family story, or share a joke with a friend, or listen to a powerful speech, just remember, you're not just hearing words, you're actually taking part in a tradition that's as old as humanity itself.